When I was a little girl, I used to tell my school friends that Santa Claus visited my house twice each year, because in my family we kept the tradition of celebrating the feast of St. Nicholas. So on December 5th, right before bedtime, my brothers and I would each put a shoe out in front of our kitchen door, and then in the morning we'd be thrilled to find that St. Nicholas had been there secretly through the night, and we had an orange and a bag of candies and a small trinket left for each of us. Nicholas was born to a wealthy family in the 3rd century in Asia Minor. His parents were very devoted Christians, but they died when Nicholas was a young boy. So Nicholas, following their example, gave what he had to the sick and the poor and the suffering. Then later, he became the bishop of Myra, and he was known for his good deeds, but he liked to remind people that all goodness comes from God. There are a lot of stories about St. Nicholas, and it's sometimes hard to separate the fact from the legend. There are stories of him rescuing sailors and relieving famine and sparing the lives of children and protecting the innocent. But the story that is most famous is the one that connects him to Santa Claus. There was a man in the village with 3 daughters who was very poor. Because he was so poor, he couldn't afford dowries for the girls, and the girls could not marry and would be sold into slavery. St. Nicholas heard of this family and knew he had to help them. So, on 3 separate occasions, bags of gold appeared in the family's home. It had been thrown in the window through the night, and it had landed in a shoe that was left by the fireplace to be put out there to dry overnight. The family got up and saw the bag of gold and didn't know where it came from. They were thrilled that someone had aided the girls. And from that custom, children started putting their shoes or their stockings in front of the fireplaces on the vigil of the Feast of St. Nicholas, waiting for him to come to their house. Clement C. Moore wrote many years later, the stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. So on December 5th, be sure to put your shoe out by the door so that St. Nicholas can visit you as well. But may we also remember the other important parts of the story. St. Nicholas was a man of great faith, whose generosity and goodness came from God, his love of God and his love of neighbor. And may we be called to do the same.